is Jenna. Welcome to a new reading slash watching vlog. I haven't done one of these since looking for Alaska and I am keen. Please ignore the total mess of my bedroom behind me, but this is one of those real vlogs where I just cannot be bothered cleaning up and pretending I'm a neat person. So, in case you couldn't tell, we're gonna be reading and watching The Babysitter's Club. I am stupidly excited, as you can tell from my box. I am obsessed with The Babysitter's Club, have been since I was a kid. I have a plan where I would love to own them all, but there's over 100 of them and I very clearly do not have over 100 here. So the TV show came out last Friday night I think, and obviously I have not watched it yet. I do know the titles. I know that the first 8 episodes are, from what I can tell, adaptations of the first 8 books, and I'm super really excited. So I have plans over this weekend to reread the first 8 books and to watch the TV show. I cannot wait. Now, I have the first 7 books here. There are 8 because I happen to have 2 copies of Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls. So I have had this one for years, and then I probably picked this one up at a Salvo's thinking, oh awesome, a new book, and then realizing, oh wait, I already had that one, great. But that's fine. And last night when I went to Dimmicks, I actually managed to find The Truth About Stacey, which I have never owned before. It is the most money I've ever spent on a Babysitter's Club book ever in my life, but I've never read this one, and it was in the original cover, so I just had to have it. So now I've got all 8 that I get to do, and yes, boy crazy Stacey has seen better days. But it's fine, everything's fine. So I cannot wait. If you, for some reason, don't know what the Babysitter's Club is, basically it is a series of novels based around a group of 13 and 12-year-old girls who start their own babysitting service, and it just follows them in their lives while they are babysitting all these kids. It's fantastic, it's amazing, it's great. I'm fairly confident I can read 8 books in one weekend as well, because these books are miniature. Also, side note, for the poster of the series they recreated this book cover, and I can't. I'm so happy about it. So this is a 153 page novel with really big writing, so I'm fairly confident that I'm gonna get them read really quickly. And it's a shame really that I'm not reading The Babysitter's Little Sisters, because these are even smaller. This book is 86 pages long. Join me as I read through The Babysitter's Club and then watch the TV show for the first time ever. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait. Guys, I was just about to, oh wow, can we make lighting any better in this area? Yes, hello, you can see me now. Guys, I was just about to start reading Christie's Great Idea, and look at this. I wrote my name in this book when I was a child. This book also cost me $1. Wow. Copyright 1986. The first episode is called Christie's Great Idea, and I'm really hoping that what they do is that they have, because each book is narrated by a different girl, I'm hoping that in the TV series each episode is voiced over by a different girl, so that we have Christy will do Christie's Great Idea, Claudia will do Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls, so on. But also, if the show doesn't start with Christy saying The Babysitter's Club, I'm proud to say it was totally my idea, even though the 4 of us worked it out together. If it doesn't start like that, I'll be like, guys, missed opportunity. Okay, so here's the thing. I am 1 chapter in already, and already I can see things from the show because I've seen all the trailers, and I did see 1 clip of the show, and it's of Christy getting the idea. And it's the same as in the book. So her mum gets pizza, and then she spends all this time calling people, and then Christy has the idea and she nearly chokes on her pizza, and that's in the show from what I understand. And I'm getting my hopes up, and I shouldn't, but I'm so freaking excited to watch this show. I can't. And the book is already so good. I've missed The Babysitter's Club. So I finished the book. It took me a grand total of 45 minutes to read. I'm so happy. I actually couldn't get the smile off my face when I finished it. I love this series. Really enjoyed rereading this one. Getting to see the start of The Babysitter's Club and meeting everybody again, like Karen and Andrew, all of the girls, just all the clients, family members, everyone was amazing. I completely forgot though that the, let me see if I can find one. Here. I totally forgot that the girls do diary entries that you have to read, which is fine. I can read Stacey's writing. I can sort of read Marianne's writing. I can't for the life of me read Claudia's writing, and I don't actually think we see Christy's writing in this one. We don't, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I should have, but I did, and now I'm going to read Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls. Ooh. Best part is I don't remember how that book ends. Ooh, it's a thing. Hello, I finished reading Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls. I really love this one. It's a really great book. I love getting to read more about Claudia and seeing Claudia's side, you know, her artsy side, her loving her mysteries, and the actual story itself with the Phantom Caller. I mean, even reading it when I was younger, I was sort of like, surely it's gonna be like a kid from school or something playing a prank on them. But one of the things I love the most about it is, like, I like to think about what I would have done in Christy and Claudia's situation. I like to think I would have done the same thing, but also I was nowhere near that responsible at 13, so who even knows? Over there you can see my pile of books. I'm going to start reading The Truth About Stacey, which, believe it or not, I've never read before. I've read a lot of Babysitter's Club books, but I've never read The Truth About Stacey, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be all about her diabetes, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing how they handle that. I'm gonna go make myself a bowl of popcorn, so I'm not sure it's the best idea to make a bowl of popcorn during the diabetes book, but like, yeah, it's fine. It is currently 8:32 on Friday night, so I'm pretty confident I can get The Truth About Stacey and Marianne Saves the Day read, and maybe even Dawn and the Impossible 3, but like, we'll have to see how I go. But I'm loving rereading these books. I always finish them with like the cheesiest smile on my face because they're just so much fun. Hello, couple of updates for you. Update number 1, haven't yet started Truth About Stacey because I went and had a shower. Update number 2, might be buying a new phone tomorrow because this one has pretty much died on me. And number 3, this is stupidly hot. I made popcorn in my Star Wars tin. Ow. Oh no. I made the mistake of closing the lid because I thought it would be an easier way to travel with it, but all it's done is made it really hot. I'm also disappointed with the popcorn. Put it in for the normal amount of time and like, I swear half of it didn't pop and the other half burnt, so that was depressing. So I just opened up The Truth About Stacey and look how cool this is. That little thing. The author would like to thank Dr. Claudia Werner for her sensitive evaluation of this manuscript. Has to be because of the whole diabetes thing. I'm totally here for it. You guys know how I said I'd never read this book? I just found out where the kid kits came from. I've always just from like the 4th book onwards, they just sort of all of a sudden had kid kits that apparently Christy made up, but I'd never known where they came from. They came from the 3rd book. That's a thing. I did not think that at 25 I would be reading a new Babysitter's Club, well, a Babysitter's Club book that was new to me and finding out things that I didn't know before. This is so cool. I just finished The Truth About Stacey. This is a new to me BSC book. I've never read this one before. I loved it. It's amazing because I've always jumped from book 2 straight to book 4, so there's always been like these big gaps. Like in book 2 they don't have the kid kits, and then all of a sudden in book 4 they have them, and I'm sort of like, where did the kid kits come from? And Mrs. Newton had her baby, and I'm always like, when did the baby get here? So I finally got to see all of that. I got to learn so much more about Stacey. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. It is 10 o'clock now. I had a feeling I'd be able to read approximately 4 of the books tonight, and it looks like that is probably going to be the case. I might get to 5. I'm not really sure. Depends on how long I want to stay up for. That's the plan. And now I finished all my popcorn. I was right. There wasn't as much in there and it was very depressing. But it's also 10 o'clock and I'm freezing. We've got the heater on and I've got blankets, a quilt, my dressing gown, and I'm still cold, y'all. So we're going to hop into bed to read Marianne Saves the Day, which is actually one of my favorite of the Babysitter's Club books that I have read, and the one that I am most looking forward to seeing adapted, because Marianne, I've always sort of thought of myself as like a cross between Marianne and Christy. So this book in particular I really, really love because I feel for Marianne, you know? I feel it. Hello, it's 11:30 at night and I'm stupidly tired, but I finished reading Marianne Saves the Day. I haven't rated it. Probably gonna give it a 5. It's one of my absolute favorites of the series. I love that Marianne takes a stand and she really grows up in this one. And we meet Dawn, and it really got me thinking, because Dawn has been in all of the promotional material for the show. So she's been on the poster when they announced the cast. She was, you know, there. She's been in all of the, literally all the promotional stuff. So I'm sort of like, so is Dawn gonna be there from the beginning you know, because like, I don't know how I feel about that, because one of the biggest draws of this book was Marianne meeting Dawn and making a friend of her own for the first time, and it just, I feel like that'll be taken away from her a little bit if Dawn is earlier on in the show, especially because they make such a big deal about Dawn joining the Babysitters Club at the end of this book. And then of course there's a whole thing between like Dawn's mum and Marianne's dad, which I'm so hoping they include in the show. But yeah, I'm just a bit like, what are they gonna do in that situation? I don't know. I feel like I'm hoping that they don't introduce her properly, at least until this episode, until this book. But I mean, if she's been in that much promotional material, surely she's gonna be in it from the beginning, right? Like surely that's a thing that's going to happen. But anyway, I'm going to bed now because it's 11:30 at night and I am exhausted. But I've got 4 books left to read and 10 episodes. So I've still got Dawn and the Impossible 3, Chrissy's Big Day, Claudia and Mean Janine, and Boy Crazy Stacy. And then I don't own Super Special 2, which is the summer camp one, which is what I'm guessing the last 2 episodes are going to be based on. So I'm not going to be able to read that one. I'm going to be going into that completely blind, and I'm actually kind of excited about it, but also kind of sad. That's tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Hello everybody, happy Saturday. It is 12:30-ish. I have been having the most lazy morning. I've been reading. I have read Dawn and the Impossible 3. This book is great. I really do enjoy it, but reading it, I'm just like, I was not that responsible at 12. Like, Dawn is the most responsible person ever, and I was not that responsible at 12. One thing I am hoping though, I am hoping that they continue the romance between Mr. Spire and Mrs. Schaefer in the TV show. Like, I'm desperate to see that. I think that's gonna be so cute. One of the things that I really love the most about the series is that we see the same family. So they're always babysitting for the Pikes or Karen and Andrew or the Newtons, and we just sort of, we see the same repeat clients, and then as the books go on we get more. So in this book we got the Barretts, and I just kind of love that. I love that it's really a community in the novels, and it's something that you can see, and I'm really hoping that we see the same sort of thing in the show, even if just they'll be at the Babysitters Club meeting and the phone rings and they'll be like, oh, you know, someone, you know, Mrs. Johansson needs a babysitter for Charlotte. I just really want that to be a thing in the show. I've got 3 books left. I've got Chrissy's Big Day, Claudia and Mean Janine, and Boy Crazy Stacy, the one with the very sad book cover. And then I will be starting the show. I have to go shopping to get Emily a birthday present, and then I actually have to go to Emily's thing tonight. We're painting and I'm concerned. So concerned. And that's my entire day. So I actually think, I don't know if I'm going to get everything read and watched, because it's taking me on average an hour to read each book, which I think is pretty good. But that means I've got 3 hours left of that, and then the show is 5.5 hours long. We'll see. I should be able to get this all done this weekend. Okay, so I'm on my phone because my camera is in my room and I'm eating lunch and I can't be bothered going to get it. But there's something in Chrissy's Big Day that's bugging me. So I feel like this is real evidence of the time that the book was written, because Mrs. Thomas finds out that her work is going to send her on a business trip to Europe, but it's going to be when the date of the wedding was supposed to be. And then they decided to move the wedding to October, so a month later. But then she gets a phone call from the real estate agent saying, oh, hey, I've sold your house, but you need to be out of there by the end of the month. And I'm like, okay, no worries. So why don't you just all move into Watson's house and then have the wedding in October like planned? No, apparently you have to have the wedding and be married before you can move into the house. I feel like that's a very old-fashioned thing. Obviously this book was written in the 80s, late 80s, and I feel like that's a very old-fashioned thing. Like, you have to be married before you can move in together. That's very different now, obviously, so I'm wondering if they're gonna keep that in the show, if it's gonna be the same sort of thing, like, oh, we can't move in together until we're married, or if they're gonna find a different reason why they have to get married so quickly, or if they even do have to get married so quickly, or if it's just a natural progression. I'll be curious to see what they do in that situation. Y'all, I just cried reading the ending of Chrissy's Big Day, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to sob watching the adaptation of that particular episode. I can definitely see, because I have looked up the titles, and that's what got me so excited, being like, oh my god, have they actually adapted books? And I can definitely see why this one would be like the backbone of the series, because obviously obviously from the very beginning when Watson and Mrs. Thomas get engaged, from then on, it's so like, it's always in sort of the background of all the novels, and so I can see why that's where they took the first season. I'm stupidly excited for it. I'm really excited to see the wedding. I'm excited to see the little camp they run for the 14 kids, and then also this one is the like end of the school year, and then they go into summer vacation, which then I can see how they did the super special of the Babysitters Club being camp counselors, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy I'm rereading these. It's making me so just nostalgic. Also, I've been posting on my Instagram this weekend, and in the Babysitters Club gifts, I've been seeing like that I'm a Christy, I'm a Marianne, I'm a Claudia and whatnot, but I also see an I'm a Mallory and I'm a Jessie. Does this mean Mallory and Jessie are in the TV show? Is this a thing? Because Mallory has been in the book so far, but she's been 10, and she has been the like, just whenever they babysit for the Pikes, she's been helpful, but she's not a babysitter, and we haven't seen Jessie at all. So I can't remember if we see Mallory and Jessie in books 7 and 8. I don't think we do. So how are they in the show? If they're in the show, I'm loving this. I'm really loving rereading these, and I cannot freaking wait to watch it. I think it's going to be a tomorrow thing because it's already 2:30-ish. I'm going to have to wash my hair and do some washing and then read books 7 and 8. So I think that the actual watching of the show is going to be a tomorrow thing, which I'm totally okay with because yeah, I think every episode is roughly like 30 minutes. It would make sense for these tiny little 150-page books to be 30-minute episodes, and there's 10 of them, so that's only going to take me what, like a little over 5 hours to watch. I can definitely get them a watch tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Oh man, this show better be good, and they better get a second season and a third and a fourth, but they'll probably end it there because Netflix has a thing about ending shows after 4 seasons. You'll have to excuse the hair. I had a shower and haven't brushed yet, but that's a thing that's happening, isn't it? Well, I finished reading Claudia and Mean Janine, and I really enjoyed this one. It's all about sibling rivalry, and I totally get that. I definitely went through my fair share of sibling rivalry with my sister at some point, so that's a thing. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this one adapted as well, because in this one Mimi has a stroke, and I'm curious to see how they go about that and sort of dealing with it, and then with the playgroup that they do, and it's all so cute and I love it so much. Oh, I can't believe I'm almost finished reading these, and then I'm gonna be watching the show. I'm so excited. But now we're up to the very last book, which is Boy Crazy Stacy, which is sad. And this one, I totally forgot that, is it just Marianne and Stacy that we see? Because it's when they go to Sea City, which I'd forgotten about. But honestly, I mean, the Pikes have got to be such a big part of the show, right? I mean, they are in almost every single book, and in this one, it's their family that goes on the vacation. And then I'm sure we're gonna see the Newtons and Charlotte and Jenny, and obviously we're gonna see Andrew and Karen, and then David Michael. I'm really hoping that they don't mess too much with the families and with everything. So I'm really hoping that obviously for Christy's family, I'd love to see her have David, Michael, Charlie and Sam as brothers, Karen and Andrew as step siblings, and then Claudia has Janine, Dawn has Jeff, and I'm really hoping, I've got my fingers crossed that that's what happens, and that we get to see all these families that we know and love because they're in all the books, and I have many feelings. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read Boy Crazy Stacy, and then I'm going to have intermission and go paint with Emily, and I'm very scared. I finished! I think this is the fastest I've finished one of them because it's only 4:42 and I started just after 4 o'clock. I don't love this particular book as much as the others because it does sort of focus on Stacy's boy obsession, and that's just really not like a me thing. I don't really get it. I'm definitely more of a Marianne in this situation, but it was a lot of fun, this book. I'm curious to see how they adapt it though, because it literally, apart from one scene where we get to see Christy babysit, Claudia's off in the mountains, Dawn's in California, and everyone's so split, so we barely spend any time with anyone other than Marianne and Stacy. So we're curious to see what they do in the show. But overall, these 8 books are amazing. I love the Babysitters Club. So I cannot wait to start the show. I think I'm going to be watching the show tomorrow because I've got Emily's thing tonight. We're definitely painting, and I'm definitely terrified, but everything is fine. So yeah, I'm going to be starting the show tomorrow. So ridiculous. ridiculously excited. It's not even funny. I have loved rereading these books. It's brought back such nostalgia. And now I've got an idea, like I've got a pretty good idea of where the show is going to go and what it's going to do. So I'm still pretty set on the idea that they're going to narrate it. Each character will narrate their episode, which is based on their book. I think that they will expand on a lot of things. I think we'll see a lot of stuff that is just sort of mentioned. I can definitely see how the wedding is going to be the backbone of the show, and I'm just stupidly excited. I'm still worried about Dawn. I still think that because she's been in all the promotional material, they're going to introduce Dawn a lot earlier, and I still don't know how that's going to work because her introduction in book 4 is such a big deal. So I don't really know, unless they don't do the big fight, but then that sort of completely defeats the purpose of the 4th book. So I don't know what they're going to do there. I definitely didn't see Jessie at all, so I have no idea where that gift came from. Mallory, I think it's only a couple of books later that she becomes a junior officer. I can't quite remember. I've never read book 9, book 10, or book 11. Actually, I don't think I've ever read 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14. And then I've read 15, 16. Haven't read 17 or 18. I've read 19, 20, 21, 22. Haven't read 23, 24. Read 25, 26. Haven't read 27, 28, or 29. And then, yeah, the super specials. So there's Babysitters on Board, which I've never read, and then Babysitters Summer Vacation, which I've also never read, but for sure that is what the finale is going to be based on. So I'm really excited to start watching the show tomorrow. I can't wait. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Today is the day. Today is the day that we are going to watch. Can I set you up here and you'll stay? Today is the day that we watch all 10 episodes of the Babysitters Club. I'm so excited. I woke up this morning and I was like, good afternoon, Babysitters Club, and I can't. I'm so keen. I talked to more people last night who'd seen it and they really enjoyed it, so I'm just kind of like, is it good? Isn't it good show? And the Babysitters Club, it's number 4 in Australia today, number 4 on trending. And that when it comes to dreams, they've got plans and each other. Oh, they've got plans and each other. Say hello to Christy, Marianne, Claudia, Stacey, and Dawn. Or as they say in America, Dawn. Which just doesn't make any sense, but it's fine. Hello, Babysitters Club. I love it. Is everyone ready for this? Because I don't think I'm ready for this. Da 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 da. Y'all, I am exactly 2 minutes and 35 seconds in and I cannot. It's already, okay, so Christy does have a voiceover in this episode, so I think I might be on point with that. But they did the decorum conversation, and there's David Michael and Charlie and Sam all exist, and I'm excited. I'm happy. I may or may not be crying. I just finished Christy's great idea, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I mean, we had, Christy's got her entire family there, Janine is there, Mimi, and then we had all of the issues. We've got Watson, we met Karen and Andrew, and then the clients that we got, Eleanor and Nina Marshall, and then the Papadakis, so Honey and what's her brother's name, Liam, I think. It was perfect. And then the end when Christy gets out the director's chair and her visor, I just can't. It's perfect. And Dawn was not in that episode, so I think potentially they might be doing it that Dawn doesn't show up until episode number 4, which is book 4, which is what I was really nervous about. This is a series that I loved and was obsessed with when I was a kid. This is probably the series that got me into reading, so seeing it is brilliant. And I was really, really worried about the modernization of the series as well. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, but they've integrated it so perfectly. I mean, having Marianne using the record book as actually being a Google Doc is perfect, but still handing out flyers is amazing. And can we just talk about, when they're handing out flyers, Claudia and Stacey, they hand out a flyer to this girl who then looks at the flyer and has a really like evil look on her face, and I'll bet you anything that was either Liz or I think the other girl's name was Megan from the Babysitters Agency, which I'll bet we see in episode 3. Claudia had candy hidden all over her room, and yeah, wow. I loved everything about that. It was perfect, and I am probably gonna cry my way through the rest of the series now. Y'all, I am 22 seconds into Claudia and the Phantom phone calls, and I just want to point out that I was totally on point with the voiceovers because Claudia's doing a voiceover for this episode, so I'm pretty proud of myself right now. I can't wait to see this one. I love Claudia. I love this book. I'm trying to think who she is sitting for when they have to call the police. I just read this book as well. I should know. It wasn't the Pikes that she was sitting for. Was it the Newtons? No. I can't remember. I suppose I'll find out. Two things to say. Number one, how perfect is the casting for Marianne's dad? Holy shit. I only know him as the bad guy from The Good Place, which is fine. But also, they don't seem to be doing a lot of babysitting in the Babysitters Club. In the books, there's usually at least 1 or 2 babysitting gigs every book, and they haven't babysat at all yet this episode. And I'm a bit like, love the girls and everything, but I also really want to see the clients, and they should babysit in a babysitter's club. I don't know. We'll see. They should technically babysit by the end of the episode because they need to catch the phantom caller, but we'll see. Okay, I didn't like that episode as much because they changed a lot from the book. So, number one, and this is such a petty thing, but why is Karen not wearing glasses? She should be wearing glasses, I think. Or does she not start wearing glasses until Babysitter's Little Sister? Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she shouldn't be wearing glasses. Anyway, I'm just so used to Karen having glasses. But number two, like, the whole thing was sort of different. I mean, Claudia didn't babysit and wasn't getting the phantom phone calls. They didn't call the police. Christy didn't go to the dance with Alan Gray. It was just all really, really different. And I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it kind of makes sense, but I'm really disappointed in that because I loved seeing the girls take responsibility when they realized that someone, well, when they thought the phantom was calling them, they took responsibility and they called the cops. And I loved that. I loved seeing them take that responsibility, and we don't obviously see that in the show. So yeah, didn't love that one quite as much, but did really like the ending with the babysitter's agency reveal. Loved that. And love that Charlotte's mum is actually Charlotte's mum's in the show, which I do really appreciate. But yeah, didn't like that one anywhere near as much as I enjoyed the first. Okay, I loved the truth about Stacey. I thought it was brilliantly done. I love the conversation around diabetes. You know, there's this stigma that people with diabetes are sick and they're always going to be known as sick, but it's very easy to manage symptoms, and I think that this episode did that brilliantly. I loved seeing little Lucy. And I actually really loved the inclusion of that scene where they're talking to their clients, the parents, and the parents are sort of like really nervous about letting Stacey babysit for them, and then having Charlotte's mum, the doctor, be like, look, no, I know she's got diabetes, I'm not stupid, and she does really well. So I loved that episode. I thought it was really well done, and I just thought it was really well done. I loved it. And I am still a really big fan of the fact that Charlotte now has 2 mums. I'm really into that. We're gonna start episode 4 now. And also, can I just say, Dawn has not been in the first 3 episodes, which is awesome because that is something I was really nervous about. But Dawn should be introduced in this next episode, episode 4, because it's going to be Marianne Saves the Day, which is one of my favorite books in the series. So I have high expectations for this particular episode, and I'm a bit nervous about watching it. Holy shit. That episode was phenomenal. Oh my goodness. So they did change things from the novel. I mean, we got Dawn, we met Dawn, and all I wanted, I was like, it got towards the end of the episode and I was like, Dawn and Marianne haven't been through old high school yearbooks. They don't know that their parents dated in high school. What would make this episode perfect? Because Marianne's voiceover is like, oh, he let me invite Dawn and her family to Thanksgiving. Interestingly enough, I don't think Dawn has a brother Jeff, or at least he wasn't there at Thanksgiving, but that's neither here nor there. I was like, oh, the only thing that would make this episode even more perfect is if her mum and Marianne's dad were like, oh my god, we knew each other, and then, oh, it happened, and I think they're gonna date, and it just makes me happy because I love that relationship. I love the fact that they've included More Bitter Destiny, so Karen's next door neighbor, Mrs. Porter. They've made her Dawn's aunt, and I kind of really love that. I love how that ties everything in, but the most incredible part of the episode is actually what they changed from the book. So in the book, Marianne takes care of a little girl called Jenny, and in the book, Jenny is Mrs. P's little angel, and Jenny gets sick, and Marianne calls her dad, who doesn't pick up, calls the gym that they're going to, and they're not there, like the parents, and they're not there, and so she ends up calling Dawn, and Dawn comes over and helps her, and then the two of them take Jenny to the hospital, and it all goes from there. This episode, Marianne looks after a little girl called Bailey, and Bailey gets sick, and Marianne calls all the normal people, but she doesn't call Dawn, and she takes Bailey to the hospital. She calls 911 and they get there, and so that's all fairly normal. What's different is Bailey is transgender, and at the hospital the doctor and the nurse because they misgender her. They still are looking at her chart and they're calling her a boy, which obviously she is not. She is a little girl. And she is getting more and more upset every time the doctor says he and uses the wrong pronouns for her. So Marianne stands up to these grown-ass people, this doctor and this nurse, and goes, look at her. If you looked at her, if you knew her and you looked at more than just her chart, you'd see that she is a girl. Please stop misgendering her because you are making her upset. And her dad sees, and it's beautiful, and this is one of the ways that I think the show has modernized it so well. That is one of the best representations of a trans child I have ever seen. It was brilliant. Marianne just accepted her for who she was, stood up for her, and it was brilliant, and I loved it. And I don't think I'm going to be able to stop crying because it was so well done. That is my favorite book of the series, and so far that is my favorite episode. That was freaking fantastic. I'm gonna watch Dawn and the Impossible 3 next. So Dawn, I assume, is going to join the Babysitters Club. And then I'm gonna get some food because I'm very hungry. And then I'm gonna watch the final 5 episodes. And I'm really looking forward to it. Can someone please tell me who gave this show permission to make me cry in every single episode? Because I thought I was going to be watching a fun, cutesy show about 5 girls who start a babysitting club together. I did not expect to be given all the feels in the world and to cry always, because that is what's happening right now. This last episode, Dawn and the Impossible 3, I'm so happy though. It was a little different from what I remember in the book, but they had the scene where Buddy goes missing and Dawn, they call the police because they don't know where he is, and it turns out he's just with his dad, but it was so well done. One thing I have to say though is, well, I mean, I'm not that surprised because obviously they're only half-an-hour episodes, but like, we haven't seen the Pikes yet, and the Pikes are a huge part of the series and we see them all the time. So I'm a little bit like, oh, we haven't seen the Pikes. I mean, I'm sure we'll see them at least in episode 8 when Marianne and Stacey go to see City, but it's weird to have not seen them yet. I loved that episode though, I really did. Dawn and Christy's heart-to-heart about Christy's dad was just heartbreaking, and I was crying, and I'm like, I thought this was a cute show about babysitting. It's not a cute show about babysitting. It's an adorable show that is all about much deeper issues. Marianne and her dad are having so many problems, and the ending with him with the, like, why he wanted the Humpty Dumpty to stay with his, this show is everything and I'm in love with it. I really didn't know what to expect from it. I actually thought the show would either be bad or just would fail, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I've watched 5 episodes now and I'm just in awe, but I mean, I'm not convinced it's going to get a second season. I don't think enough people will watch it to warrant a second season, but just with the first season and just with the episodes that we've got so far, I'm in awe and I'm in love. And I mean, I would love a second season. Obviously there are so many other books they could adapt. I mean, there's what, 100 something? Like, there's so many books that they could adapt, and they could pick and choose which storylines they wanted to take. I know there's a storyline where Christy takes care of a girl with autism, Dawn takes care of a girl with Down syndrome, Jessie speaks with one of her dance friends who has an eating disorder. There are so many other things that they could talk about in this show. So I do really hope that they get a second season, but I don't actually think that they will. But now I'm gonna go and eat some food because I'm really hungry, and then I'm gonna watch the final 5 episodes and probably cry while I do it, because I know the next book is Christy's Big Day, but I think the next episode is Claudia and Mean Janine. I think they've swapped book 6 with episode 8, but I love it. I'm loving it so much. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm back and I have no food and I'm annoyed about it because I prepaid for it, so I'm gonna have to pick it up at some point. But I live on a no-through road, so there's only one way out of my street. And I get in my car and I drive down there and there's all these road closed signs, and I'm like, oh, okay, well surely they have to let me through because this is the only way to get out of my street. No, they don't have to let me through because there was a gas leak and an explosion. So for safety reasons, they can't let me through. So I'm stuck. I'm literally stuck here. I'm annoyed about it because I prepaid for the food. So I'm gonna watch the next episode of the Babysitters Club because I can't go anywhere. So, you know, that sucks. And I'm really hungry too because it's already 1:30. So, what the hell? Why was there a gas explosion? And when was there a gas explosion? Because I definitely did lose power this morning. Was it then? I spoke to the power guy and he's like, yeah, I can't even get in there. The police and the fire people won't let me. So I'm like, well, if you're not allowed in, I won't be allowed to drive through. Jeez Louise, like a girl just wants some food. So yeah, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch the next episode of Babysitter's Club, and then I'm gonna go on the police website and see if they've moved so I'm allowed to leave my house. Not what I was expecting from a Sunday afternoon. Slight tangent in the BSC vlog, but I thought y'all would want to know about this most random event and the fact that the people of my street, there were like 3 cars behind me as well, and no one ever wants to leave, but all of us wanted to leave at once, and we were like, we're literally locked in, we're not allowed out, so that's fun. Hopefully it shouldn't take them too long, but if the gas explosion did happen when I lost power this morning, that was freaking 4 hours ago, and they've still not solved the problem. I don't know how gas leaks work or explosions and whatnot, but yeesh, there's literally no other way off my street. If anyone watching this who knows where I live, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a problem, and I'm not happy about it. Okay, so while I was dealing with the lunch issue, I finished watching episodes 6 and 7, so Claudia and Mean Janine and Boy Crazy Stacey, and they were adorable. They really, really were. I don't think they were my favorite episodes. Like, I did really enjoy them, but I didn't think they were amazing. I still struggle with Boy Crazy Stacey. I struggle with that one because I feel like I struggle with that one because that's not how I acted when I was 12, and I know that people, especially, it is really funny watching this and seeing what they wear and everything, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I know that's what 12-year-old girls are like now, but that's not at all what I was like when I was 12. One of the things that I found really, really interesting about episode 6 though, so Claudia and Mean Janine, was I loved the dynamic of the sibling relationship, but they cut out the entire subplot of Lucy's christening. So Lucy Newton, the baby's christening, and the relationship that Jamie has with her and how he's jealous and whatnot. So they completely cut that out, which I think is fine and does make sense because obviously they are having to save time on things. I really liked in this episode though, they made Scott less of a creep, because in the book he's super creepy, in my opinion, but in this he was less of a creep. It was more just kind of like, he knew that she had a crush on him. He didn't stop it, but he also wasn't encouraging it and he wasn't really engaging with her, so that was a little bit different. And then we finally saw the Pike family, and Mallory is really small, and I was like, in what universe would you ever let someone that age babysit? So, oh, the other thing in Claudia and Mean Janine that I really loved though was the discussion that Janine had with Claudia about what happened to Japanese American families back in World War II. I had no idea, and that's something that this show has taught me, and it's horrible. So I'm really impressed that the show has managed to teach me something about American history that I did not know before. So all in all, so far it has been the most incredible show. I've been loving every episode. I'm about to watch Chrissy's Big Day, so the wedding, and then I've got the 2-part finale of the summer camp, and then I'm done. Don't know how I feel about being done. That's a little bit weird. If any of you care about the lunch situation, what I've ended up doing is, because I'd already bought and paid for the food I was gonna have for lunch, I'm now gonna have that for dinner, because surely they'll be done cleaning up this explosion by dinner time, so I'll go have that instead, and so I had my dinner for lunch. Love that for us, but now we're gonna go and watch Christy's mum get married, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna sob because that seems to be how this is going. I still don't know how I feel about the fact that this show has made me cry in like every single episode. I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing because I just read the books and I love the books so much, and now seeing it on screen, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's just they've adapted them ridiculously well and they've brought them into the modern era so well in a way that I just didn't think possible. Side note, freaking love Karen. She's amazing. She's so funny. She's the little actress who plays her is brilliant. In this episode they had Mrs. Porter be the officiant at the wedding, and when Karen saw her she screamed, and Mrs. Porter's like, this little girl thinks I'm a witch and I want to just tell everybody I am. And I was like, oh, more bit of destiny, how we love you. It's fantastic. In this episode they did what I'm dubbing the period storyline, because they do it in a lot of TV shows now, and it's odd for me because I'm not used to that sort of stuff being so normalized and talked about. And so watching it is still a little odd, but I'm getting used to it and I loved it. I loved the friendship that it showed and I just love the whole episode. Now I'm about to watch the 2-part finale, and this is, I believe, based on the super special Babysitter's Summer Vacation, I think. Either way, it's based on a super special that I have never read, so I have no idea what to expect going into these next 2 episodes, but I'm stupidly excited for it. I can't wait. I am curious to see what they're going to do voiceover wise, because the super specials are narrated by all of the girls, and in this it's going to be a little different, so I'm curious to see. One thing that is really interesting to me though is for a show called The Babysitters Club, the girls are not doing that much babysitting, as in they're barely babysitting at all. So in Claudia and Me and Janine in the book, they start a play group. That did not happen in the show. For the wedding book, Chrissy's Big Day, they take care of 14 kids the week before the wedding. That did not happen in this one either. So it's just very interesting to see that for a show that's all about a babysitting club, the girls really don't seem to do that much babysitting. Well, I have finished watching The Babysitters Club and that was amazing. That was an incredible adaptation of these amazing novels. It really brought it into the 21st century and made the storyline so relevant and perfect. In the last 2, we'd already met Mallory in episode 8. No, in episode 8, in the one where they go to Sea City, and then we met Jessie in this one, and then Mallory and Jessie are officially junior officers of the BSC, and I loved every second of that show. I really, really did. I still don't think it will get a second season. I just don't think it's going to be popular enough to warrant one, but it was freaking fantastic and I absolutely loved every second of it. The only complaint I have, I guess, is for a show about a club of babysitters, they don't tend to do a lot of babysitting. So, I mean, the last 2 episodes, there was no babysitting. Episode 8 and 7, there was no babysitting. Episode 1, I don't think there was any babysitting. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of babysitting happening in the Babysitters Club, but it was incredible and so much fun, and I loved every second of it. Thank you so much if you have stuck with me for this whole vlog. I have no idea how long it is, but I'm sure it's longer than I meant for it to be. Please don't forget to comment down below and let me know if you have watched The Babysitters Club and what you thought of it, because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.